Hello, PC. Today we're going to look at the exclusive buyer brokerage engagement agreement. That form is going to be F110. This is the newest version that we have. It just came out 1/1 of 25. So we will look at that. We're really going to be looking at what we're plugging in. I highly recommend that you read and understand all of these words in the whole document. But for today, we're going to be looking at the things that we need to fill out for compliance and to make sure that our clients are taken care of. So the first one is the term. How long is this agreement supposed to be? This is going to depend on your buyer and how long they need to find a home. If I have somebody, it's January, and they're saying, my lease isn't up until September, I'm probably going to put a year because it's going to be a while before she's ready to purchase. If I have somebody that says, my lease is up next month, I got to move now, I might put 3 months. I see a lot of agents just put standard of 6 months. Totally fine practice as long as you make sure that you understand when it's going to expire, and make sure that that lines up with what your client needs from you. So 6 months is what I see a lot of people do here, but make sure you understand your client's needs. Number 3 is the agency brokerage. These are things we don't offer. We do not offer dual, and we do not offer sub. Dual agency is when we represent the buyer and the seller as clients. We don't do that at Keller Williams, though it is legal in Georgia. We don't do that here because we don't feel that it's ethical to represent two sides of the transaction equally. It would be very difficult to do that. So we don't do that here at Keller Williams. If we offer dual agency, which we don't, so then the buyer does not consent. So make sure you click that little box. The buyer does not consent because we don't offer it. Number 4, compensation. So this is different than the last form. We only have one little section now instead of 3. They're really trying to streamline this a little bit. So just know that they've added, compensation to brokerage is negotiable and not set by law. It is not set by law, but it is set by your broker. So make sure you understand what your broker engagement says that about what is set for this brokerage. This is also where you negotiate your value. So remember, if your buyer agrees to pay you a certain amount and the seller's agent is not compensating, the seller's broker is not compensating anything, the buyer is on the hook for that money. It goes toward their cash to close at closing. So make sure they understand that. So I explain that to my buyer. I say, I am worth this amount of money for all the things that I do for you. I would be compensated this amount. Here in number 1 is where I would put that. This is what you have negotiated with your buyer. This is what your personal standard is for doing the work that you do, or what your broker's standard is for doing the work that he does. So make sure you know what that number is. I'm going to put the word form here. So I'm going to spell out the number here. Then the percentage will go here. So that is just the number there. Then on D, this is a change that we need to be aware of. The buyer directs or does not direct the broker to seek to get compensation from the seller or the seller's broker. So the buyer directs us. If they're not paying it, they want us to get it from the other side, that we would need to put directs. Then notice here it says, provided it does not exceed the value of the broker's compensation above. So it cannot be more than this. So if you've negotiated with your buyer that you are worth X amount, and then you find out that the seller's agent is offering more than that, you cannot accept more according to this document. If you've negotiated your set amount and you find out that the broker is offering less, but you decide that you'd still like to work with that client on this particular property, you can amend down. So you can come into this document and amend from higher to lower. It would be very difficult to explain why you initially thought you were worth this much, but then found out they were offering more, so now you think your services are worth this much. You need to have a set number that you are worth and then amend down from there if the seller is not offering that much. Here under other, this is where your bonuses will go. The change on this one is you can no longer put up to. It has to be an exact amount. So whatever they're offering as a bonus, if they're offering a bonus, no, if you put something here and they're not offering a bonus, you're saying your client is paying that. So you would need to amend that to go away if they end up not offering a bonus. Anything over would go to the client. So if I put a number here and the seller's agent was the buyer, builder, whoever was offering more, then whatever was over that number I put here would go to my buyer client toward their cash to close. I do not do lease compensation. I will refer them to a leasing company. That's their job. They understand the system a lot better than me. I stay in my lane when it comes to leases. So if you'd like to get into leases, I can refer you to someone to speak with about this. Otherwise, this is going to be zero for me. Down here is 90 days, your protected period. This is what I put on all my documents. After this agreement ends, if my buyer does business or transacts for something that I set up, I would be entitled to compensation. These are all definitions from what we just filled out on the first page. Make sure you understand these. Down on page 7 is our brochures and our special stipulations. Our brochures are what we need to send to the buyer. I'm sending them ABCs of agency so they understand how our relationship works. I'm sending them a lead-based paint document. I'm sending them protect yourself when buying real property. Look through these and make sure they are applicable to your situation and send the ones that are. Make sure if you've checked this that you send the pamphlet that goes with it, which can be found in the documents on DocuSign. Make sure you're sending the pamphlet. Special stipulations. This is the one I use most often on an exclusive buyer brokerage engagement. So it says no compensation owed by buyer. Notwithstanding any provision to the contrary contained in this agreement, broker shall not look to the buyer to pay any portion of broker's commission pursuant to this exclusive buyer brokerage engagement agreement. So it basically says if the seller is paying, the seller or the seller's broker is paying less than what we have negotiated, what I told you that I am worth, I'm not going to look to you to pay it. So I would just accept whatever they are offering. Now these would need to be changed with the new ruling to compensation, not commission. So make sure you make that change. I got this from the GAR website where they have a bunch of stipulations. So just make sure we're making that change. Then down at the bottom is all of our information. This buyer address for receiving notice is required. They will kick it back and you will have to have it redone if you do not put this buyer address. The phone number and email are not required, but I do put that on my documents to make it easy for everybody to find their information, including me. Here under our brokerage name, this is our brokerage name, our legal name, Keller Williams Realty Augusta Partners. We're not Keller Williams. We're not Keller Williams Augusta. We're not Keller Williams Augusta Partners. Keller Williams Realty Augusta Partners. They will kick it back. You'll have to change it and get everybody to initial the change if you don't put that correctly on all of your forms. Then your name, because you're the affiliate licensee. So you're going to sign, you're going to put your name, your phone number, your email address, your Georgia real estate number. RGA is our MLS. If you're in other MLSs, you're welcome to add those there. Your MLS office code, your brokerage license firm, your brokerage phone number, your brokerage street address. Then you send it to your buyer to sign, or you have them sign during your buyer consultation. Once it's signed by both parties, you and the buyer, it would need to be bound. So you're going to come down here and you're going to put the time that you're binding it. You're going to put the date that you're binding it. Once all parties have signed, the document is then bound. That is the buyer brokerage engagement. Remember, with the new ruling, you must have some sort of brokerage engagement before you show any properties. This is the one that protects you the best.